Hey everybody, welcome to Commercial Construction Elevate the Industry podcast series hosted by yours truly, Dave Presida. Thanks so much for joining us today. The purpose of the podcast is simple. It's to help everyone in this industry from owner to intern understand the industry better so that you can make the best decisions about where you want to go and how you want to get there. We're going to do that two ways. You're going to hear solo episodes by me, and yes, in the last 40 years I've learned a lot. We're going to share those with you. And also going to introduce you to industry leaders, and in their interviews, you'll be inspired and empowered. You'll see the business through the eyes of others, and I think you'll enjoy what we have to offer. Today's episode is improving sales by building strong relationships. Now, at the end of this, you're going to understand, if you don't already, why relationship building is so important, some of the steps that you can take to do a better job of building relationships, how you can track it, and why it means so much. You know, in commercial construction, I don't care what type of job it is, they are categorized as either multifamily, office, retail, institutional, stadiums and arenas, education, and more. Now, in my career, my long career, I can tell you that 98% of all of the sales that I've been involved with, and that's over $1 billion with a B, were private. They were negotiated jobs. So there's two distinct different types of bids that we're going to talk about today. One is a public opening. Now, if you are doing public work, that's great, and I wish you the best, but this podcast will be of little interest to you. Because in a public bid, it's incumbent on whoever's offering the job to publicly open the results of the bid, which means if you're pre-qualified and it's a $10 million job and you're at $9,999,000.99, you're going to get the job because you're low. That's just the way it is. And my point here is that there's very little, if any, selling that goes on. So building a relationship doesn't matter. Everybody in that room might want you to do the job. But if you're not low, you're not going to get it. We're going to focus today not so much on the public bids, but on the private work. Like I said, most of the work I've done is private. So every time a job comes out, an opportunity, you get an ITB, which is an invitation to bid. Now, let's talk about what a bid means, because a bid is an offer by definition. And I think too many of us get hung up in bidding work. And bidding work, you're putting together proposals and you're putting together numbers, but you're just another bid. We're going to focus on what I would call pursuits. Now, the difference between a bid and a pursuit is huge. A pursuit is a verb. It's like chasing, right? Tracking, catching, capturing. It's an ongoing process. So a pursuit starts with understanding that there's an opportunity and ends with hopefully closing a job. So a relationship is defined as a connection with another person. Now, you can have a relationship with anybody, but it could be a weak relationship. That's a weak connection. It could be an average one. We want to talk about building a strong relationship that helps you and your client. Now, don't get relationships involved with friendships because they're different. You can and will have strong relationships without being friends. It happens every day, right? People can count on you because they have a relationship with you, regardless of whether you're considered a friend or not. Now, we'll get to this a little bit more later, but if you can make your clients your friends, two things will happen. You'll reap the benefits in terms of more business. And the second thing, which is really important, is you're going to enjoy your business more because you're working with people that you really like. We're going to discuss that in particular when we get to RDP. You're going to want to stick around and listen to that part. Because it's a negotiated setting, you want to be the one they want to work with, right? And that's where all this is going. All this is going to say, if all else is equal, your client wants you because you have a strong relationship. Your clients have choices. What differentiates you from somebody else? That's what we're going to find out. Now, I preface all of this entire episode, that I know we're in the middle of a pandemic. COVID-19 has impacted the way people do business. And in our interview with Brian Termel, we talked about it. It's not great, but it's transformative. Okay, I think I think if nothing else, this is going to make us better at what we do. But the personal contact, the personal relationship, I call bellying up with somebody, right, is the key for the past 50 years and certainly for the next 50 years. I don't care what technology does. It's your ability to make friends or make relationships with the people you do business with. A buddy of mine, he's a good guy. He's been in the business for probably as long as I have, and he sells building products. And fortunately, he's with a good company. But this is what he tells me. He goes, he says, I don't really believe in relationships. I get sales. I can't bother spending time with people until I know they have something that I can sell them. And he said, and that's when he says, turn up the heat. And I said, sounds corny, but okay. So you're going to wait until a guy gets a job and then you're going to knock on his door. Okay, that's the way you do business. He's probably selling price and not value, because later in the conversation, he says, there's hardly any money in this business. So he's probably not selling value. He's selling price. He gets the work if he's low, and the guy's best friend, who's also selling products, won't touch those numbers. That's very possible. So there's no shortcuts in developing a relationship. And what is the one word, I'll give you a second to think, what's the one word you think you have to get to really build a strong, a fruitful relationship? It starts with a T, and it's the word trust. Trust is the biggest thing in any relationship, whether it's business or personal. And, there's only one way to build trust. I said this before, when you're talking about marketing, your biggest marketing tool or your biggest branding tool is your ability, your company's ability to do what they say they're going to do. That's the only way you can build trust. Now, there's always that first job, because you can't build trust if you don't do a job with somebody, right? And they see how good you are. So we're talking about building trust, in a long period of time, one job at a time, but we got to get you to that first job. Now, there's another thing that's important, because your client might trust you. He also might trust somebody else. Trust is the foundation of the relationship, but value is what you build on top of that trust. Value in terms of what you offer. Remember, your clients care how much you care before they care how much you know. So what do they need? One of the biggest things in building a relationship is understanding the needs of your client and being there every step of the way. We talk about budgeting. Somebody said, well, I'm not going to budget because I'm too busy. But is that really what your client needs? No, they need you now. They need you in the beginning, and they need you throughout the process. We could do an entire episode on, just how to vet opportunities and how to vet clients. We're assuming that this client is a good fit for you. We have to assume that. But from there, you're either going to bid work with a guy you may not know, or you're going to spend time on a budget. But when I say adding value, I'm talking about A to Z, right? Think about the things that you buy. If you buy products or you buy services, subcontractors, how do you look at it? You're looking at somebody that's there the whole time, not the guy or the girl that knocks on the door when you get the job. It's the person that was there, right, on the come, so to speak, that was with you when you were not so sure you were going to get the job, but that's how you add value. So if you can add value to trust, then I think you're really onto something. So we've already made the assumption that your company and the client is a good fit, and that has to be. Now, another big assumption is that you are technically proficient to provide what the client needs. Now, don't let that scare you, because a lot of people will use that as a crutch and say, well, I'm new in the business. Okay, if you're new in the business, make sure you understand the basics, and make sure that you never say something that you don't know is true. In other words, if somebody asks you about a detail or a new product or anything, and you don't know about it, don't pretend you do, because you'll kill your credibility. The best thing in that case is to say, hey, I don't know, but I know who does, and I'll get right back to you. So they trust that. They might say, well, this guy's green, but I like his attitude, and he's going to go places. So it doesn't mean, because you don't know everything, that you can't engage clients, because you can. All right? But understand the things that you don't know. Make sure you have support. And that, again, that's a big assumption, but we're going to work off of that. Now, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the single biggest thing that will attract the client to you and how you can deliver. Elevate, elevate, elevate.
Hi, I'm Patrick Ripple, founding partner of ISA Architectural. I've known that chap right there for well over 20 years.
And what a 20 years it's been. I'm Larry Windsor, partner, vice president of construction services. Our third partner, Mike Morehouse, can't be with us today.
We are the Mid-Atlantic's premier sales force for architectural building products and engineered architectural solutions. For over 15 years, we have been providing comprehensive design solutions to architects and designers all across this region, and high-quality economic product solutions to contractors and subcontractors too.
We bring products and people together. We specialize in the building envelope, everything from the weather barrier all the way out to different types of cladding. We fully understand the rain screen principle, and we have an interior portfolio specializing in wood and metal walls and ceilings.
If you're a developer, part of a design team, architect, or interiors, or if you're a contractor, let us help you.
Visit www.isaarchitectural.com and see how we can bring value to your project.
Elevate, 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 elevate. Hey, welcome back. I said I'm going to share with you what I think is the biggest single most important thing that a client cares about and what will attract you to them. And that is this. They need to know that you care about them. Sincerely care. And remember, I'll say it again, sincerely care. A big difference is when you sincerely pay attention to somebody, you understand what their needs are, and you want to help them get what they want. That's when you'll get what you want. If you do it selfishly, it might work a time or two, but in the end, it's going to be short-lived. You don't want to be that person. Who are considered the best conversationalists? And I don't care if it's a business setting or personal. The best conversationalists are the best and most sincere listeners. These are people that care about you. If you go to a party, you're going to remember 2, 3, 4 people, and they're going to stand out. They're going to stand out because they probably took an interest in you, or you're going to stand out because you probably took an interest in them. And I mean this, you want to find out about what they like, about them, what they do for a living, or, about their kids or whatever. You're inquisitive because you care about them. That's a law of life. You want them to become close to you. You want them to open up. You got to ask questions. And it's simple. If you're sincere, it'll come naturally. Again, this is all post-COVID, but the single biggest thing in business is you got to spend time with your clients. Now, there's lots of ways to do it, and people have different thoughts about it. I'm going to share mine with you, and I look at it in 3 phases. But I can tell you this, without getting past phase 1, you're not getting to phase 2 or phase 3 where it really gets good. In phase 1, you want to get to know what the clients want and do it through deliverables. In other words, it would be very awkward for you to call a client that you haven't dealt with yet and say, look, we may do business in the future and I really want to get to know you. Can I come and, can we meet? Can we have lunch? That's awkward. But when you get engaged through an opportunity, through a pursuit, and they have deliverables. Hey, I need a budget number. I need samples. I need something. Use that as the catalyst to set up a quick meeting. Go to their office, right? Be unintrusive. Take cues from them. And I mean this, if they're busy, you're going to know it. You're going to feel it. Then get in, do your thing, smile, make them like it, and get out. If they want to talk and they want to chat, sit there as long as they want to. Be interested in them. Now, definitely avoid 2 things. Avoid politics, especially in this environment. Avoid talking politics and religion. Okay, you want to, if you're interested in them, it'll be natural and it'll be easy. Take the cues from them. Don't overstay your welcome. But every time you meet, talk about the next time you're going to meet. Now, in phase 2, you're going to spend time with them outside the office during business hours, but talking about things, you'll talk about business, but you also talk about family, relationships, right? Outside of work. sports. A big thing is talk about hobbies. I don't care if it's a man or a woman you're talking to. People have hobbies, and you need to know what they are. Because we're going to talk about being relatable in a little bit. But if you know their hobbies and a little bit about their family, man, that goes a long way for you to build the relationship. Now, phase 3, if you get past phase 1 and 2, phase 3, you're spending time with them on off hours at their choice. Remember, this is not during a business day. Developing a friendship, talking more about life and less about business. So now it's all about you. Time for self-evaluation. Uh-oh, here we go. Let me start by saying, sharing with you something that happened to me a long time ago. Probably, well, a long time ago. Dolores Liss was the purchasing agent for a drywall company in New Jersey. And I was calling on them. Now, this drywall company ended up being my first real break. They backed me in business. But think about this. I had to meet with Dolores Liss, who was a purchasing agent, and some months later, I'm talking to the owners and they're backing me in business. Now, you talk about getting from step 1 to step 3. I remember sitting down with her after we did a couple of jobs, and she said, Dave, and this hits home today. What I liked about you is that you're respectful. You do what you say you're going to do. You're confident without being pushy or arrogant. You're genuine. No BS. I can take what you say to the bank. And you know what? As you navigated through our company, she tells me, to the 2 owners, you never forgot me. You never forgot who I was. And I'll never forget that, because that is I think the building blocks of developing relationships. I didn't forget her because I was now talking to the owners. I respected her. You respect everybody no matter what part of the hierarchy you're dealing with. And that could be another entire episode in itself. How you get from dealing with project managers and then to the owners who actually, in some cases make the decision without disrespecting the project manager. That's an art in itself. But I'll never forget that she said that, and I kind of live by that. Now, my question to you is, what is your brand? Your personal brand? And I can ask it in a different way. How do your clients see you? How do you want them to see you? And we already established that you're technically proficient. Are you pleasant to be around? Do you brighten the room, or do you just, come in and suck up the air in the room? Wait, how do you make people feel when you're with them? Now, there's a novel by Napoleon Hill. It's called Think and Grow Rich, and that may sound corny today. Grow rich. Rich could be whatever richness is to you. But this book was published in 1937. I remember reading it when I was in my 20s. And Napoleon Hill has 17 principles for success. He interviewed, at the time, over 500 millionaires, right? Millionaires. At the time, that was a big deal. And everything starts with a burning desire. And we know that. But I'm going to share with you his principles number 5, 6, 7, and 8. And 5 is you would have a pleasing personality. You're fun to be around. Not ha-ha fun, but enjoyable, pleasant, upbeat, right? Personal initiative. That comes through in everything you do. You're serious about what you do, but you have fun doing it. Positive mental attitude is number 7. And you can see that success attracts more success. A positive attitude, right, attracts positive responses. Failure attracts more failure. It's your decision to decide how you want to look at things and how you want to portray yourself, how you want to brand yourself. And the last is enthusiasm. Now, I hope I'm enthusiastic during this podcast because I love doing this. But your enthusiasm for doing whatever it is you do, whatever it is you offer, and your relationship, the value of the friendship that you've established with this customer, your enthusiasm will show. And listen, good or bad, it's contagious, right? You impact the people around you by the way you comport yourself. And this isn't anything phony. This is how one should live. It's your choice. Does that describe you? Does 5, 6, 7, and 8 describe you? So, other considerations when you're thinking about your brand or self-evaluation, ask yourself the question, are you relatable? Now, why would I even say that? Because the more relatable you are, the easier it's going to be to develop strong relationships. Are you up on current events? Are you interesting? Now, that sounds harsh, but I have to ask you, are you interesting? What would someone else see in you? Do you provide information? Do you ingest their information, right? Are you fun to be around? Are you a reader? Do you read current events? Do you read novels? Do you read fiction? Because they may. Are you up on sports? That's a great topic, especially with men. Everybody wants to talk about their pro football team. Find out what sports they're into. Are you into it? Can you talk about it? You don't have to be an athlete, but can you talk about it? What about pop culture? Now, I fell flat on pop culture until recently because I wasn't into it. But I understand, that there's a place in our society to be able to talk about those things. How about it? Are you a fan of the arts? What are your hobbies? What are you doing? This is a big one. What are you doing for self-improvement to be the best version of you? Now, you're going to invest time in relationships. And the best way to do that is to invest time in you. Because if you're not investing time in you, then how important are these relationships? Knowing that the better you are, the better chance of developing a strong relationship you will have. There's a lot of things you can do, and I've mentioned them all. You can read. You can, instead of watching the same TV show every night, maybe look at a news channel. There's a lot of things you can do. You can take courses. Whatever it is you do, if you're constantly learning, and that means you're constantly growing. And the more you grow, the more relatable to people you will be, the easier and simpler it will be to build a relationship with somebody. Now, I get asked this a lot, and we could do an entire episode on it, but does dress matter? Well, I think it matters, and it matters a lot. And I think appropriate dress matters. And it's as simple as this. You need to know your client. And if you're going to see 2 clients in a day, and one is, jacket and tie kind of thing, and they still exist. I remember back in the day, I wore a jacket and tie and a suit, hard shoes every single day. Now that's changed. But if I'm going into a client that I know dresses that way, I'm going to dress that way. And I'm going to look good, and I'm going to make sure I'm groomed. I want to be as relatable as I can. Now, I can't change the way I look, but I can make the most of the way I look by the way I groom and the way I dress. And it matters. It matters. It's part of you. It's part of your brand. Now, I can tell you this, I'm not wearing a tuxedo, but I will wear a jacket. I might wear, I might not wear a tie. And when I go to the next client who's casual, I will leave the jacket in the car. But I'm still going to look presentable, right? Could you imagine going in, or think about the last time somebody came into your office looking sloppy. It's like, wow. I mean, if they look this way, what are they thinking? So you have total control over the way you dress and the way you groom, and it does matter. The biggest single thing, and I probably hit on this 2 or 3 times already, are you likable? And again, if you are investing in yourself and you're becoming the best version of you, you're going to go in there with an energy that is contagious. You will be likable. If this job is something that you have to do, and as soon as you leave that office, you don't care about it, it's probably not something that you're going to succeed in. Remember, all of these things matter. They all add up only after you've developed trust. And a good way to think about it is this. If you and a competitor have the same proposal, the same scope of work, basically the same number, you've provided the same value all along the process, why are they going to choose you? They're going to choose you because they like you. because you've developed a strong relationship. We're going to take another short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about something that's near and dear to me, and that's a way to effectively track how many clients you touch and how it benefits you in the long run. Elevate, elevate, elevate. Hey everybody, if you're looking for a strategic business partner who does subcontracting work on the interiors, let me tell you about the CFP Group. They are a minority business enterprise and have been in business for over 20 years. If you're interested, you can contact them by email at cfpgroup1@gmail.com or call them directly at 410-977-8568. That's 410-977-8568. Take it from me. I've done business with them, and I know they can get the job done. Okay, welcome back. So we've established that relationships are important, but how can you measure you or your team's progress in developing relationships? Now again, you or your sales team. It could be both. Between 2008 and 2018, I was in charge of business development for two different companies. One was a very large, privately held interior contracting firm, national, and one was a public company, $3+ billion, that again was a national company. And in both cases, I took care of commercial business development. Now, accountability is a word some people love and some people hate, but I can tell you this. You can't make people accountable unless there's a way to track progress, number one. Number two, you can promote the kind of work ethic and the kind of attention to detail, and you can help lead your sales team, right, to the result that you want, building relationships in this case, by developing a program. And I did. It's called the RDP program, Relationship Development Program. And the idea was it tracked client touches. It awarded points based on what you did with your client. We had weekly results posted. We had quarterly awards and an annual winner. But in the process, right, during the process, it teaches all the sales staff what you think is most important in developing relationships, so they don't have to think about it themselves. Now, the rules, it had to be a personal touch. No emails, no text. I mean, they're all important, right? Phone calls and everything else. But it had to be a personal touch, and they were categorized, and I'll give you some of the following categories. A simple office visit, important, right? All important, but it's worth a point. You walk in and you say, hey, and that's good. An office visit with a working session. Let's say you're developing a budget, you're going over a bid or something like that. It's worth 3 points because now you're doing something tangible with the client. A lunch worth, let's say, 5 points. Now, why is the lunch worth more? Because now you're getting that person out of the office and you're spending personal time with them, although it's during the business day. A lunch and learn. This is really effective. A lunch and learn is when you take either a breakfast in or you take a lunch in. It's so easy. And you gather the people up and you tell them about you. Remember, it's a great branding opportunity, and you get the word out to the entire staff, at least the staff that's there. They're never all there, but at least the staff that's there now know who you are, what you do, and they have confidence in you. Dinner with a client's worth 12 points because now you're on their time. It's not during a business day. This is dinner. They chose to have dinner with you when they could be home doing something else. Golf or other outing. I know that sounds antiquated, but let's call it a ball game, whatever. It could be a trip to the opera. Anything outside of the business day, an event, a single event, let's say in the evening, is worth 10 or 15 points. And obviously these are graduating upward. Dinner with a client and the significant other. Now you're being introduced to their significant other. And hopefully yours is with you. 20 points. That's a big deal. They trust, they like you now. You're friends. Family get-togethers are 25 points. When they entrust you to be with their families, you have hit a home run. A trip away with the client is 30 points because now you're spending multiple days with them doing something fun that they'll never forget. a trip away with the client and the significant other is even worth more, 35 points. If you take their families away somewhere, go to the beach or something, and remember, not all companies are allowed to partake in your, benevolence, okay? But if they are, and you get a family to go away, that's like the coup de grace. It's worth 40 because now you are a more than likely lifetime friend. I can tell you that some of my best friends today are people that I've met through business and we've enjoyed times with. And every time we get together, whether I'm doing business with them now or not, we laugh like crazy talking about the fun times we had. Now, again, what we're doing here is we're teaching people the key touch points that we think are important in developing relationships. We're developing relationships for obvious reasons, but it can be a lot of fun too. So we rewarded everybody. I think the RDP program is, you can look at it in many forms, but the way we did it made sense. It was trackable. And at the end of the day, we were able to trace awards back to times where people had spent quality time with the client. So let me give you a few other things to consider. And these may sound, basic, rudimentary, but learn the names of your client's significant other. And if they have children, learn their names too. Send them a card or a message or something acknowledging that they're important to you during the holiday. Thank them. And here's a big one. Thank them when they give you an opportunity. Thank them when they don't give you the opportunity. Now, why would you do that? Because you're not going to get every job. And the last thing you want to do is base your friendship on what you get out of it, because that will be short-lived. Thank them when you don't get a job. Hey, Joe, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm sorry I didn't get the job. And if you have a half an hour, can you talk to me about where I fell short? We're not talking about, sour grapes. We're talking about good, useful information. You care. You still thank them. You're still happy. Disappointment's okay. Don't be unhappy. Don't be a sour grape. Okay? Send a personal video. Now, it's during COVID too. How many videos have you sent where you take a shot of yourself or somebody, your friends, your kids, whatever, and you send it to somebody? It's 15 seconds. It's 30 seconds. A lot, I'm sure. How many have you sent to a client? None? Why not? Now, you don't want to be, as I used the word before, intrusive. But if you feel good and you want to say, hey, I just got a huge job for a client. And I'm going to take the entire team that put that job together. We're going to do a quick video and we're going to send it to the person that gave us the job. It's simple. But, I like to share my success with the client. Of course, you share it with your team. You never take credit. Everybody gets the credit. But share your success with them. And I mean this. When I was growing in business, and even today, I let my clients know, hey, you really helped me. You're a big part of my success. And if you think I'm a successful guy, you had a hand in it, and I appreciate it. People want to do good. They want to help other people. And if you make them feel like they've helped you, it can only help. Okay, so one final question for you, and it reminds me of the time I had a big sales meeting, 65 plus people, and I posed the same question to them. I said, at the end of the sales process, what do you think is more important? The best number or the strongest relationship? And I got varied answers. Now, if you say it's the best number, I will respectfully disagree. Because in negotiated work, if your number's not the lowest, but you have the strongest relationship, you can put yourself in a position that we call last look. And that is where the client will say, and they will, hey, you're not low, but I want you. This is where you got to be. Now it's your decision. Is the job worth that? And if it's not, you walk away respectfully and thank them for trying to help you get the job. But if it is worth it, you take the job, which means your price wasn't as important as your strong relationship. So again, I hope you got something beneficial out of this podcast. I certainly enjoyed doing it. Thanks again for joining us. Until we meet again next week, stay safe and stay tuned. All the music for the episodes, including our theme song Elevate, was provided by DMV producer Trey Skills. If you like what you heard, follow Trey Skills on Instagram at Trey Skills, TreySkillz. That's TreySkillz. So follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Elevate Industry. Check out my YouTube channel at Commercial Construction, Elevate the Industry. Visit my website, adicorp.com, ADICORP.com. Go to LinkedIn, search for David Procida, hit connect, and follow me. Please rate, review, and comment on this episode, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Elevate.